Hello, and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life. This is episode number 472 at scavengerlife.com.
So we talk about scavenging on this podcast.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
When we get to it.
A lot of times. And I feel like we use that word. I mean, why do we say scavenging? Like, why did we come up with that word?
Well, number one, there's a book called Scavengers Manifesto.
Right.
And I read that and I was like, oh yeah. It's just sort of like finding the things that no one else is noticing. It's like a turkey vulture, which we see in our area all the time. They eat roadkill. Nothing else wants roadkill. And they're like, great, I'm going to survive on this because no one else is going after it.
Or it's like a crab, or, you know. I mean, these aren't parasites. So these aren't
it's not parasites.
Animals that are feeding off of a live animal.
Well, they're cleaning up the waste.
Right.
I mean, that's the thing about a turkey vulture, too, is like they didn't have to do any work. They just sat and wait. Not that we don't have to do any work. They sat and waited, and they were like, there's my dinner. Yeah. Did not have to hunt at all. They might hunt a little.
So our life, we're like turkey vultures. Yeah, and, you know, and we picked that before kind of there was a whole explosion of kind of online selling media that has come on. And, you know, people use terms like picking and reselling and retail arbitrage, and all these
flipping
words. And it's interesting. Each of those, and hustling, I guess, is another one. You know, in each of those words, it's all the same thing.
Yeah.
But I feel like each of those terms kind of come at it from a little bit of a different angle.
Yeah.
And I think I really love that term, scavenging. And the reason why I bring it up is that, you know, I think you can scavenge, or we've learned that you can scavenge almost anything.
Yeah.
What we're looking for are scavenger eyes.
Yes.
We're looking for things that no one really wants, or things that people might not traditional things to buy, to use.
Well, I think also it's about that, but it's also about finding things anywhere. You know, I feel like sometimes people sort of pigeonhole themselves into like, I only do this and I only do it here. I only buy men's shirts at Goodwill. You know, we've heard of those people, and they can be successful and that can work for them. But we're like, oh, look at that thing that someone left on the side of the road. I'm totally, you know, or I'll go shopping, or I'll go to an auction. You know, like I will look anywhere for anything.
Right. And that's different from, you know, the way other people can sell online, because there are all kinds of different ways. Again, there is nothing wrong. It's whatever works for you. You know, people who like buy wholesale and they're like, I'm just going to buy these iPhone cases, you know, and they're in demand and other people sell them. But there's this expectation, if I buy it, you know, 10 cents each or something, and I sell them for 15 cents, you know, there's kind of like, you hope that there's like a regular amount of profit that happens. And that's kind of different from us, because we're trying to find things as cheap as possible and sell them for as much as
possible.
You know?
Right, exactly.
And,
that's true.
You know, and we can oftentimes get a lot of value. Anyway, the reason why I'm bringing it up is we almost bought a house online, and kind of going back to, it's a little bit of scavenging, I guess. We were just, you know...
It's totally scavenging.
I mean, I think everyone's doing it right now. We're doing a lot of online auctions just because we don't feel as safe getting out into public and, you know, fooling around with all that. So you found this... It's basically the frame of a house.
It's a manufactured house. So they build it on a site, on a building site. It's basically cut in half. And then they transport it to your location, and you put it on a foundation. And
it's not a trailer. It's not a mobile home. Those words we've learned because we've done all this, you know, this research. Those kind of ended in the late 70s. Now they're manufactured homes where it's actually 2x4s. You know, it's just. But this one specifically was built by a local technical high school.
Yeah.
So the students built this thing.
It's so cool, actually.
And then they were just auctioning it off. So then the new students can come in and build another one.
Right. So they said they do it every year, but because the school year got cut short, they only built the frame and put the windows in.
And the roof.
And the roof.
So anyway, it was interesting. We actually bought a piece of land.
Yeah, last year.
Late last year, kind of before all this madness started, with the idea was we would, and we've never done this before, build a brand new house there.
Right.
Because we've only bought a used houses, whatever, old houses, to fix them up, but we would build this new house there and rent it out.
Yeah, for an Airbnb.
It's a really gorgeous piece of land right next to our lake.
It's really cool.
It's talk about some arbitrage. We finally got this piece of land. So, but then you saw that and you were like, let's buy this frame of a house.
Yeah, put it on this land.
Stick it on this land, and then me and my buddy can finish it because, I don't know how to frame a house, but, you can do drywall and plumbing and electric. I mean, that stuff is easier to do when the house is there.
Now, that we went and we looked at it in person, which we had to do.
Very skeptical of high school students building these things.
Well, so I went to a technical high school, vocational technical high school. So I knew that, this was under the supervision of trained professionals. Like, they're not going to let you build a house and then auction it off to the general public if it is not usable.
Right.
So I was a little bit skeptical just because it's a manufactured home and I don't know anything about those. But I thought the quality was very good. Yep. I was excited to buy it. We got outbid.
Right. So So anyway, we didn't buy it, but it was interesting because as scavengers, it's interesting. It just becomes like anything. You can scavenge anything from stuff you find on the side of the road that someone threw away to
an actual house.
Like this house. It ended up selling for like $39,000.
Yeah, it was basically $40,000.
We had dreams that we were going to get it for like $10,000.
I mean, our bid was higher than that. We did have a high, we weren't like that naive, but it did get to a point where we were like, that's a little bit high.
Yeah. And we would have had to have we would have 2 months to get it, to like hire someone to come and pick it up in a truck with a crane and then bring it over to our building site. So the big problem for me personally was that would have been my job, was to figure out how to like get the piece of land
ready,
flat, pour concrete for a foundation, do
blocks,
get everything, go through the county to get permission and all that stuff.
I mean, you could do it in 2 months, but the crazy thing about this pandemic, which seems like it makes no sense, is like every contractor and construction person we know is booked solid.
Right. Yeah.
So we're like, this just would not happen.
Government loans or the money people are getting and people are doing housework, or contractors are just...
Or people are trying to move out of urban areas and build little second houses. I don't know.
So, I mean, I think anyone that has been doing this for a while probably has those kind of stories where they've bought something that's kind of wacky and weird outside of their normal... Yeah,
like I was not expecting to
Goodwill stuff.
Buy a house on an auction. But, the terms were fine. I mean, it's just like any other auction. It was... The people selling it were really cool. I wish we could have bought it, but just didn't.
For $10,000. That's how much
I bought it for a lot less.
Okay, let's talk about eBay. Everyone is talking about it's getting slow again. For some reason on the forum, people were saying July 4th was for them the starting point of just everything slowing down. Yeah. They said... Before that, I was selling X amount a week, and now right after that, I'm now selling X. Like, it's gone down.
Well, I think people are going on vacation, which is the weirdest thing because we're in the middle of a pandemic. But that is definitely happening.
Yep. Well, I mean, I think, too, people forget that this pandemic buying can't go on forever.
Right.
And summer is traditionally slow. So... as bad as it is that this pandemic has happened, for those of us selling online, it's actually been kind of good because we're making more money selling online. So, but like we always say, do not get used to like the kind of holiday great sales.
Yeah.
Make sure your budget is set to when things are at its slowest, so it isn't a surprise to you.
Right.
And when things are good, save your money.
Yep,
so when things
it.
do get slow,
then you have a buffer.
The other thing is, so eBay, again, because of the pandemic, they were, I guess doing this, they're being friendly or whatever. They gave free, like, if you had a store, you could go up to 50,000 items for free.
Yeah, free insertion for till sometime,
and
July.
Then it was going to end like the end of this month, and they just announced they're going to extend that.
Oh, that's cool.
But then there's a lot of caveats. It's like, I forgot how many it's more you can list for free, but it's only under certain categories. So people on the forum were trying to figure out, I actually sell in this particular category. I could actually go down from being an anchor store to the other one and save some cash.
Yeah.
I guess eBay's going to do that full time, or like it's a permanent thing. I'm not sure.
I get confused about stuff like that. I'm just sort of like, I don't understand the rules. I don't understand like who's benefiting from this and who benefits the most from it.
Well, so I don't have the categories in front of me, but I know it's one of them was collectibles.
We do sell a lot in collectibles.
Yeah.
That's true.
So I don't know if that's going to help us.
I have to like read the fine print. I'm just like, whenever they do promotions like that, I'm like, I don't know.
I think my concern would be if we it were to change how things are done, go from an anchor store to a premium store.
I think it's basic premium anchor.
But then what happens if they switch it back?
Yeah,
again and you have to.
Well, but the other thing too is like we pay by the year for our store,
right?
And if you cancel it, they give you like this huge fee. Because when we had our second store, and I was like, okay, we're ending our second store, I had this like massive fee. It was like $150 fee.
Well, the reason is because when you pay by the year, they give you a discount every month. So if you cancel, they're like, well, we've been giving you a discount every single month. So you have to pay it back. So basically, you have to pay us those discounts as if you didn't try and pay by the year. It's like
month to month. They revert you back to month to month.
Yeah. So anyway, it's an interesting. If you go to your eBay seller hub, there's like in the announcements, there's a whole explanation about it. So you can go there and see. But I guess it's good for people who don't like to pay for subscriptions, and then they're always trying to like kind of scrape by it with as many as free stuff as possible. Yeah. So it's good for them.
That's interesting. If people pay month to month, I didn't think of that. So
okay. The other thing is Washington Redskins.
Yes.
This is a football team.
Yes.
And they have announced they're going to change their name. And the first thing I thought of was all of that stuff is going to become collector's items.
Yes. Like it already is.
Yeah. And there's, especially where we are, because that's the kind of the local football team.
Yeah.
There's so much Washington Redskins stuff.
Oh, it's go, if you're shopping cups. Right now, go get that stuff.
And the funny thing is like that stuff, the problem is that it's not going to be valuable right away.
Yeah.
You would have to buy it and hold it for
10 years.
10 years, 20 years before.
Because it's everywhere.
Before it starts to become
Someone did buy a shirt this week. I had a Redskins shirt.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, cool.
And I think he even told us, like, oh, they're going to take this off of eBay. I'm like,
I don't think so. I don't think eBay is going to take it off.
Yeah. So, anyway, it's a good change.
Yes, it's about time.
Yeah. We met our potential helper.
Yes.
Brand new helper.
Yes.
We talked about this. We're trying to find someone else because our old helper got a full-time job, which is great for her. And we met him, and how did it go?
I thought he was cool.
Yep.
It was really funny because we were
he's 19 or something?
He's 20.
20.
Which is very funny to be around a 20-year-old. I'm like, oh my God. Like, were you even alive during 9/11? Yes, he was probably a little baby. It was funny because we had asked if he had ever done eBay And he said no. But I was like, have you ever bought stuff on eBay or online? He's like, oh yeah, totally. So you're like, okay, I'm just trying to get like, you know, when someone's 20, they're half my age. So I'm just kind of like, I don't know what your world is, you know?
Yeah. And I think too, it's just interesting, you know, we do this podcast, so I feel like we connect with a lot of people about what we do.
Yeah.
But if I think about it, other than this podcast and talking to people online, this world we have is very insular.
Yeah.
Like we don't talk about this with like our neighbors I mean, it's not because it's a secret, it's just because people don't care. And
like it's just whatever.
So it was interesting, like talking to someone, we walked him through
kind of our
what
process.
he would do and the process, and kind of showed him just like a sample range of just the weird kooky stuff we sell.
Yeah.
And
he has a good friend who does eBay full time for clothing.
Right.
So he
actually found his store.
I was like, oh, I'm finding this guy because there's no way I'm not going to be able to find him. It's going to be so easy.
And I think if you're in a small town, it's very easy on eBay to find
other professionals.
Yeah.
Like you're like, they have X amount of listings. It's all clothing. The photos are perfect. Like this is him.
It's funny. He sells only like short sleeve
men's shirts,
kind of like office casual shirts.
It's so funny.
It's so specific.
It's funny because he was like, oh, he does clothing. Mm-hmm. And I was like, let me just look for men's shirts. And I was like, oh, it ends up that is all he sells is men's shirts.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know. I feel like that's some like guru thing where like he found someone on YouTube and was like, oh, I'll just like men's shirts.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we talk about. It's like people can get in and be wherever they need to be. And I think there are people who are like, this is what I understand. They sell. I get it. I go on Mondays and Thursdays to the Goodwill because it's a blue tag sale, and I get all my inventory, and then I list on Wednesday and Friday, and then I ship Saturday, and it's kind of like that's what they need.
It's a schedule.
It doesn't seem to bore them, and they're good to go.
Well, also not our helper, but his friend still lives with his parents and has probably limited storage. So he's like, these fit on racks. I have 4 racks down in the basement, like, you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's interesting to hear that young people are doing this.
Yep. And so the way we ended it was I just wanted him to kind of see what we do, just to see like, is this something you want to do? And then it wanted to see if he was paying attention and kind of understood. And, you know, can we... I mean, basically, we're just trying to find is like a normal adult who can just work by themselves and be self-motivated. Yeah. So he's now on vacation.
With his family.
And so when he comes back, we'll see if he's still interested. And we'll talk to him and get started. So
he seemed fine to me. Yeah. I mean... I've never had a helper who was a guy, but I know, like we were saying, lots of guys do eBay and they do, you know, not just shirts. They do, you know, interesting inventory. So I think it could be fun.
Yeah, I guess my question is, I think first we'll just have him take photos, just like
I'll start him out with that.
And simple stuff.
Yeah.
I do question whether or not he has the ability to research in a timely, you know, like he doesn't have the innate knowledge of what antiques are.
Well, generally what I do, and I did this with both helpers, is I would leave titles. I would be like, just to get them started, this is a such and such, this is the style.
Right.
That's what I want on the title. Make sure those are there, plus other keywords.
But at this point, it would be helpful for us if he can just be going through photos and just like that.
We definitely have like, there are a massive amount of boxes blocking stuff in my office, so I need that to happen. Yeah. Like, let's move through this.
Yeah, let's go. Okay, let's talk about our numbers for this week. We sold 51 items.
Yeah, it felt like that.
Which is good.
Yeah.
We made $1,948.41.
That's awesome.
That's our gross sales without shipping costs.
You say it every time.
I do.
They're gross sales, people. I'm not going to tell you how much shipping was because...
Shipping was. So, you know, people talk about the slowdown. We did not feel, for us...
It didn't feel slow,
didn't feel slow, but that.
Who knows what this week will bring?
Yeah, who knows? Okay, things that we sold. So we sold like a backgammon briefcase, right?
This thing's awesome. It's vintage. Yeah, this like big backgammon foldable briefcase thing that was cork. And the printing was black, white, and green. Something like that.
$70.
I wanted more for it, but it was in rough shape.
We sold a trash can.
Yeah, this is nuts.
For $320. And I'll just say real quick, I bought it just because, I mean, again, we talk about it. How do we know the things to buy? I just bought it because it was well made. It was like this
metal.
Like a metal.
I mean, like welded metal.
Solid. I was like, this thing's cool. So I bought it, but then you found out it actually was worth
a designer. Something. It helped that it had a name on it. I mean, like it had a seal and a name. I would not have known what it was, but this thing was heavy. It was 10 pounds. It weighed 10 pounds.
Right.
A 10-pound trash can.
And it's just like a waste paper.
Yeah, waste paper
like
basket with
office,
welded. It had a welded flower on it.
Right.
And the designer was just a high-end housewares designer. And the other trash can that had sold on eBay a while ago, I looked through Terapeak, it was like over $300. And I was like, oh, well, I'm definitely putting that price on it. And it sold within like 2 days.
Yeah.
A day.
Yep. It was, what was the name?
Jan Barbolio something.
Barboglio.
Yeah. I mean, just I've never seen anything like that.
I think that's just an example again of where our bread and butter is. Is like things that everyone's passing up.
Yeah, they're like, it's a trash can, whatever.
But it's valuable. I mean, I thought we get like $40 for it because it's nice. But then the fact that then it just needs to have a name on it, and then you just research it, and there you go. Bob's your uncle.
There you go.
Okay.
Yep.
We sold a role-playing book, like a D&D book, but for not D&D. Like
for Star Frontiers.
$90. I love it all day long.
Can't beat
We
that.
sold a crystal heart, like a
little paperweight.
$65.
Yeah.
Just crazy.
I mean, you can't beat it.
But now, what was satisfying? This is like different satisfying. We sold that glass art. It was like a drop art. You know what I'm talking about?
What could you be talking about? Drop art?
So it's a piece of glass.
Yeah.
Colored.
Yeah.
Made out of glass. And we bought it at that yard sale for like $1.
It's a window hanging. It's like a sun catcher.
Got it.
Sort of. Yeah. I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah. It's like this Scandinavian artist.
Right. But don't you think he made it by like taking a big blob, melted it, and drop it? It was like, and then you.
Yeah, but I couldn't picture what you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like hand blown, sort of like he pressed a design into it.
Right.
And it's definitely from the 60s or 70s. And I sold it for how much? $125. $125.
And the reason why it's satisfying was we were up in
Northampton.
Northampton. And we were just at like a yard sale. Some guy.
Yeah, it was some like college kids yard sale.
Where, it's one of those houses where like kids move in and move out all the time. For
years.
And he was at the point where he's just trying to sell stuff that people had left
behind.
And it was all just trash.
We bought a bunch of cool stuff there, but this piece, it was interesting. It was in a box of other garbage, basically. But the color is really amazing. But it was really dusty.
Right.
So I just kind of was like, oh, God.
Stuff had been rained on because it didn't cover it.
It was just like, I'm looking at this thing and I'm like, oh, God. So I walk by it and I like get it. And then I look at it, I'm like, I can't believe I almost didn't pick that up. It's clearly Scandinavian. It's heavy, like amber orange glass. Like it's handmade. Even if I couldn't find the artist's name, I'm like, it's awesome. So it was like $2.
Yeah.
Yes, it was dusty. I had to like scrub the dirt off of it. It was gorgeous. Definitely worth $100. We
sold, and this is satisfying to me.
Yes.
Some more lawn ornaments.
Oh my God, these things!
I bought a whole table, it's $50, and that's like a big. I mean,
that's a lot.
Like I have to do that when Ryan doesn't see.
Yeah, seriously.
But they've been selling. We sold 2 swans.
And the cool thing about these is I've sold several on Facebook, on Facebook Marketplace, because I noticed that like housewares or garden stuff seems to sell really well on Facebook for whatever reason.
Someone's just in an hour can come by and an angel.
There's so many angels
for $60.
$60 cash, which is awesome.
So it's nice. Yeah, and the swan sold for $110, so it's nice.
I shipped them to Finland.
Yep.
That was not fun because they were large. Is big box.
I mean, that to me is the wackiness of this interconnected world. Why some guy in Finland would want a resin? I mean, they're like
fiberglass.
Like they're that crazy, and he paid like $150
for
to
shipping.
Ship. Crazy.
Cool. Fine by me. Another sale that was satisfying was another huge box going internationally. It's through eBay Send, so I'm sending it to their like warehouse, the DHL warehouses or whatever. So that makes me feel better. This guy in China bought a lamp, this porcelain. I called it a ginger jar lamp because it looked like that.
It's Hong Kong, right? Or was it China?
No, it was China proper. Yeah. Okay. So this lamp is like big. It's porcelain. It's large. And then he bought 4 as-is Polaroids, as-is 4 parts, Polaroid cameras. It was and it's funny because he didn't message me at first, so he bought a camera, he bought the lamp, and then he was like, this is one of those things we talked about last week. Oh, I want to buy these 3 other cameras. Can you, like, like, and I want a lower price on them. Plus, I want you to combine shipping with the other things I bought going to China.
eBay does not have the ability to like customize stuff after the fact.
And I kept saying to him, message me through those items. He couldn't understand what I was saying. And I was like, I'll send you offers. But the problem is, because I send offers, one of them had an open offer to him and he couldn't figure it out. And it was just like, so I ended the listings. Made one listing for those 3 cameras with his name in the title, listed the cameras, had one photo of each camera on the thing so he knew what he was getting, put the price on. Then he bought that, took off pay immediately. Like this whole thing, I'm like, I gotta figure this out. He paid. I sent him a combined invoice with cheaper shipping. And the box was, those 2 boxes, my poor mail carrier, they were supposed to go out on the same day, on Monday. And I was like, I'm packing one. I'm putting it out. I'm packing and putting a label on the other one, and I'm putting it out the next day because there's no way I'm giving her.
Because she just is like a CRV.
She has like a Honda CRV.
Right.
She can fit. She's fit some massive packages in there before, but I'm like, not 2 at once. So
and talking about boxes, because we've been talking about this the past week, we had some boxes.
I had
that were ready to go.
The most perfect, huge. Like, I think they were both Amazon boxes. One was from eBay Shipping Supplies and one was from Amazon. Right. That's why I hoard boxes, because in a situation like that, I'm like, I want to get this out today.
Oh, cool. So the box that the boxes come in, like the
boxes. Those boxes are huge.
Yeah.
You know, they're like 35 by, they're massive.
Well, let's cross our fingers and hope that they get there and everyone's
happy. eBay Send, I've had, something, I don't think, someone said something got damaged going to Australia and they covered it because it's basically like global shipping. I'm like, close this case because it's eBay Send and you guys.
Our business exists, Ryan, because you are able to ship anything.
Yeah.
Period.
Yep. I like shipping.
Yeah. Okay, customer issues. Well, Scavenge of the week, we didn't scavenge because, like you said, we're kind of like overloaded with stuff right now. Which to me is just like it is. We don't even scavenge that much, I don't think.
Yeah.
It is so easy to get too much stuff.
Yeah.
I don't.
We don't even scavenge that much.
Like I can imagine there are people hearing this that haven't found that balance yet, and they're like scavenging all the time, and you can get too much stuff in my mind.
Well, I do want to say this, since you said this business hinges on me shipping anything, like two fiberglass swans that have to get double boxed and bubble wrap going to Finland. But like this business wouldn't exist if you didn't buy that stuff.
Oh,
no, but it's true because I don't want to go to the auction and I don't want to pick stuff up, and I mean, there's stuff where I like looking at the auction and being like, oh, I buy that, but I definitely wouldn't pay more than such and such, and then I don't win the lot. So,
well, I think we make a good team.
Yeah, we're a good team. Yep. You buy the stuff.
That's right.
I process it and I get it out the door.
Yep. I like
what else do you want for this business?
It's like perfect.
A match made in heaven.
That's right. In trash shelf heaven.
Yes.
Okay, customer issues. So someone on the forum, I forgot who it was, so I'm sorry I can't give you credit, but it is on the forum. They shared an eBay link.
Yes, oh, thank God.
I don't know if I had ever seen this before, or I don't know if it's a new forum, but you go there and you can ask eBay to take away a neutral or negative feedback.
Yeah,
like
and it's
instead
great.
Of calling.
It's like an actual form.
Right.
You know, it brings up the listings. Hey, these are your negatives. Like, pick the ones and tell us why you think we should remove it. Right. I got one removed.
Yeah, and so that's a good feeling, right?
Although I got a negative feedback.
And then
this week,
the next day,
this guy is so annoying.
We got another negative.
We got a negative, and I tried to get it removed, and they won't remove it. But I'm actually going to call. I'm going to call because I'm like, really? A negative for this?
Look, I just think that, I mean, you know, anyone that is new, I know when you first get a neutral or negative feedback, it's really like a gut punch. And we talk about it.
It sucks no matter what.
Because it feels very personal, especially if it feels like it's warranted. I mean, the thing we do is we always think like, should we have gotten this? Sometimes we're like, okay, we screwed up. I mean, but and we always make sure like, have we done something and we could get more because this is a problem among different, you know, items as well.
Yeah.
You know, just it makes sure they're not, because, you know, we're trying to make sure that the customer isn't pointing out a problem that's going to keep occurring.
Right, exactly, right. But when someo's like,
you know, for most part, a lot of them.
I felt like this one was super nitpicky where you're like, no.
So look, the person bought an item.
Yeah.
It's photographed. They can see it. There's no mystery to it. They get the item. It was like a box of tacks, like old antique
like
tacks.
1900.
He gets it and he's like, there aren't as many as I thought. We show a picture of exactly how many
are in there.
And then he's like, I don't, you know, I'm upset. And we're like, return it. Full refund.
Yeah, I was like, I'm happy to take a return if you're not happy.
And then he keeps it, does not return it, and then gives us bad feedback.
Well, the other thing too is, and I feel like actually what I should do, because I messaged him saying, you know, I'm happy to give a refund if you're not happy, is say, well, I don't know if I should say this, but he didn't even ask for a partial refund.
Right.
He didn't even say like, well, it's not as many as I thought. Like, can you give me some money off?
Yeah.
So you're like, you didn't even open a case. You just left a negative.
Yeah. So I always think that that's weird. You know, if you're jumping through all the eBay hoops by like allowing, you know, like a long return policy,
like 45-day returns at this point,
free shipping to return. It's just like, and someone doesn't want to return it. Like, should they be allowed to say you did something wrong?
Yeah, I'm like, I offered whatever.
But it's one of those things where like, do we just ignore it or do we spend time trying to fight it? You know.
I think I'll do a couple of things. I think I'll call and just see.
Yeah.
I feel like they're
stain on our good name.
Well, I feel like what they always say is reach out to the buyer, but I did reach out to the buyer. I was like, I told them that I blah blah blah.
Yeah, I don't know. Some people, some other scavengers talk about how they just like it's no problem. They're always like reaching out to people and like changing people's minds. I've tried that in the early days, and I find like people like that don't want their minds changed.
No, they don't. And they want to keep the item, and they don't want to solve the problem, and they want to leave you negative and blah blah blah.
Oh no,
yuck.
Okay, things we learned in the forum. We talked about a bunch of stuff that has been happening over there. It's been good. It's been good info.
Yeah, I love hanging out on the forum.
We talked a week ago or a couple of weeks ago, someone was saying that their friend was going to move to Finland or Norway or something.
No, she was moving.
Oh, she was.
Yeah.
And the question was like, can I still sell on eBay? Like, does anyone know if there's stuff over there?
Yeah.
So Sonia from Portugal.
Yes.
It's good. She comes on every so often, and she will post like really insightful things. So she lives in Portugal.
Right.
She sells mainly on Etsy. And she's explained the way she does it. She actually buys online from people on the mainland of Europe, from Norway and Scandinavia, and she buys like it's mid-century modern stuff because
so she buys for cheap and then resells to people in the U.S.
Right, and then she sells to Americans. So it's like
and she does a markup.
She said some advice. I think there's scavenging to be done anywhere on Earth, especially if you have access to a global market.
Yeah,
because that is important. Like the eBay, as much as people hate it or love it or whatever, I mean, it's so important because it's the thing that connects us all to each other. It connects us to that guy in China, or selling those swans to the guy in Finland, you know, because someone around here might not pay that. And then she says, it all boils down to knowledge and info.
Yep.
Totally true.
Yep.
Because it's all about knowing what you got. Being smart enough to know where there are arbitrage margins. And arbitrage is that word. It's like a kind of a stock market thing where you find something low and you know if you sell it over here, you can sell it higher.
For high.
Yeah. So being smart enough to know where there are arbitrage margins, and whether big or small, to be made. So.
Well, you know, it's like I was saying with that Norwegian sweater or whatever. Every single person in Norway has a Fair Isle sweater because that is like the national uniform, essentially. And, you know, maybe over there, they're expensive. Of course they are. But you could maybe find those things where people are like, that one's not as nice. Well, in America, they'll pay over $100 for that.
Sell them to Americans because it's authentic Norwegian.
Totally. Yeah. Or whatever kind of... It was like that art piece that we were talking about, that glass art. You know, some college kid is like, it's a dusty old grandma thing. And I'm like, no.
But I think that she really encapsulates the scavenger motto.
Yeah.
Or the scavenger lifestyle, because it really is about, you know, it's not obvious. It's not easy.
Right.
But the stuff is out there and you have to have the right set of eyes, or you have to train your eyes. And then you have to be willing to do the research, and you have to kind of think, who is going to want to pay for this thing?
Right.
People in my area think it's garbage, but is there someone somewhere else on the planet who might
literally
think
anywhere on the planet?
That just takes a different mindset. And that's how we all make money.
The other thing is, are there people who are not us, because we're scavengers and we're like, I would never pay that, who can pay that? Can afford to ship something for $150 that you could buy, you know, wherever.
Yeah. And, you know, I shouldn't make fun of that guy in Finland. I mean, I'm not making fun of him. It's just like, it's incredible because I feel like we could not sell those as much around here. But I hope that he gets him and he's in Finland and he is like a natural hot springs that's like, there's like... steam coming out from there.
And he has these like cool planters.
And he puts these like little swans there and he plants these like cool like
Scandinavian.
It'd be great. And then it makes him happy.
Yeah.
So. Okay, I was just about to end the podcast, but Ryan brought up something I can't believe I didn't even think about talking about it, because it's our highest sale of all time. Why wouldn't I guess I blinked.
Like why? Well, it wasn't on eBay. It was on Craigslist.
Yeah.
So, do you want to start the story?
I'll just tell you my part in it, and then it's really all you. So we bought this building on our main street. It's like a broken down crack house that needs a lot of work. We haven't even started thinking about how we're going to fix it up. Anyway, people had been inside of it. They had a whole raised kids, you know, a whole
an
life in there.
Apartment up top.
The guy died in 1980. They closed the door and just walked away. So the son cleaned out almost everything, unfortunately, but they left, like, it's called a beauty queen. It's like an enamel
steel
kitchen
cabinets.
So we've been sitting on this thing for like a year, and my only part was just, I was up there and I was just like, we should just sell this thing.
Yeah.
And I told you that, and you went into action.
Well, so the beauty queen was actually one of the things where the owner of the building like stripped everything out, and I was like, please keep this here. I want this, in quotes. I'm like, I want to use it in this kitchen. He left it there, thank God. I have seen these before. I mean, just as like someone researching stuff on Craigslist for kitchens. My sister actually owns one. It is a beauty queen. In Boston, it has an enamel top sink. This one doesn't have that, but it did have an enamel sink. So I know that people pay a lot of money for them because I've looked for them before for certain projects, and they're too expensive for me.
It's like a style that
yeah, it's totally 50s. They're enamel steel. Like, where can you can't buy that stuff at Lowe's. So I was like, oh, and this one was pristine. It looks like nobody had ever used it.
That right there is a key. Whoever had owned it, kept it in really good shape. Because oftentimes what happens is they get it rusted out because there are leaky pipes
sinks.
Or they get scratched up.
Yeah, this thing looked like there were a couple rust spots in hidden parts, which was great, like on the sides. It was just the most beautiful thing. I was like, this is incredible. So I was like, I took pictures of it. We measured it. And I thought, I'm going to put a really high price on this, hoping someone gives me an offer of a really high price.
And before you say the price, and the guy who helped me take it off the wall, and we had to like unhook everything and then bring it downstairs, he was like, I'll give you $100 for this. Because I'll just put it in my basement and store tools in it. And I was like, I think it's going to be worth more than that,
Right.
And then how much did you put on it?
So I put it on Craigslist for $3,000.
Right. And my friend saw that. He was like...
Because he looks at Craigslist, because he's a scavenger.
He's like, these people are crazy.
He said, this is after I sold it, he said, I almost texted you when I saw that, because he gets Craigslist alerts for our town. And I was... he was going to like swear at me. What are you thinking? You must be insane. That kind of text. So within 2 days, someone bought it full price.
Yep.
$3,000 because she's redoing a vintage kitchen.
Yep.
And she's like...
She had a vision. She had done the research.
She knew that it was worth this.
She couldn't find anything like this. And she was the right person.
She's the perfect person.
And that's a perfect example of, like, arbitrage,
Yeah.
Like...
And, she came to look at it. She lives an hour and a half away. She was like, I'm going to come to look at it. I was like, well, I'll help you load it up. She's like, nope, I'm just going to look at it. And then I'm going to rent a truck.
Yep.
Rent a van. She came in.
And I just assumed she was going to come and then lowball you. And
she did ask. No, she was awesome. She was super cool. Fellow artist. And, she was sweet. She was like, are you firm on the price? And I was like, yep.
Good for you.
You know why? And I explained it to her. I was like, I've seen beauty queens. I've researched them. I've bought one before with my sister. And it was rusted out and she had to repaint it. You will not have to touch this thing. And she knew I was right.
Yeah.
So she looked at it and then she went home and Venmo'd me $3,000.
Wow.
And then came and picked it up 2 days later. I mean, I was texting with her the whole time. I'm like, it's yours. Right. It's on hold. Whenever you want to pick it up, I'll help you get it.
And so that was like a mortgage
highest sale ever.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, highest sale ever.
I mean, it costs us money to get that.
Well, I mean, that building costs X amount of dollars, but so our friend was a little bit miffed because he was
almost angry because
he was almost mad. I think he was mad.
He just couldn't because again he just did not understand because he kept asking.
He didn't understand why it was worth that much.
Why is it worth that much? But again, too, I think his issue is that he's always buying and selling stuff just locally. Yeah. So his sense of value is just in, the 100 miles around our house. So that's a certain kind of market. And we reached out farther. So
look, I was looking for someone who's not us. I was looking for a rich person. Yep. And I found them.
And she lives in a city a couple hours away.
Yeah, like she's someone. I mean, the fact that she could Venmo me $3,000, you're like, you're rich.
See, I think that's also what makes our partnership good. So I'm good at buying things, and I'm willing to pay. I don't think I'm crazy. Like, I don't think I
really.
I don't think I overpay for anything, but I'm willing to see.
Yeah.
Anyway, you think you're good at selling stuff. You always ask for prices I would never even dream of. And you're willing to be like solid about it.
Yeah. Well, because I have the facts to back it up. If I thought this thing was, it's okay, I'm not really, I'd take a lower price.
Yeah.
But I was like, no, this is worth that price. And if she wasn't going to buy it, someone else, there's going to be someone behind her.
So if we could just find those
all the time,
day long,
gold bars.
We would just.
And also the thing I had to say to our friend too, I said, number one, that's the highest price item I've ever sold. It's not like I'm selling these all the time. That's the highest price thing I've ever sold. And
plus on eBay, I don't think I saw any of them that sold for more than that either.
No, and they weren't in good shape. They weren't the top cabinets plus the bottom sink. It's a whole set. So, I just said it's rare to sell something like this. Is not a normal thing for us. But I also said I've done the research on these in the past, and I knew how much it was worth.
Good job.
He just couldn't believe it, and I kind of understand why. But
good job.
That was definitely the sale of the year.
Sale of the century.
Yep.
Okay, that is it.
We have no calls.
If no one called,
everyone's satisfied.
Left a comment or a story,
but lots of talk on the forum.
I will say, if you would like some coffee, our buddies at broadporch.coffee.
Yes.
That's a website.
Just if you don't know.
I mean, I don't know. Like it's
broadporch.coffee.
Yeah. So broadporch.coffee. If you use the coffee code SL10.
Yes, you get 10% off.
You get 10% off till the end of July. We just like to throw business their way. They actually just opened up their shop again, like in a very
safe social distancing, wearing masks way.
But they're still roasting coffee. I mean, it's their bread and butter. So if you're looking for some good specialty coffee, they will ship it to you.
We just got some Costa Rican. It's very good.
Yeah. Very chocolatey.
It's very chocolatety. I drank some this morning and I walked by you and I was like, this is really good.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
This is good. I like this.
Yummy. Okay. You can go to our blog at scavengerlife.com for all these links we talk about, because we talk about things that happen. It happens there.
It happens there on the forum.
Come and hang out with us. You can call and leave a question or comment on our voicemail line.
The phone number is 540-407-8486. You have 3 minutes to leave a message. You can also email us an audio file from your phone. Our email is thescavengerlife@gmail.com.
Yeah, I would love to hear some stories if you've ever found one of those rare, weird items that sold for X dollars that you couldn't believe that paid for your mortgage, that
your friends thought was insane. Clearly.
And why did you think it was worth that much?
Yeah, I love those stories.
And just so anyone that is still here that might not know, we post an episode every Monday. We are just committed people. Consistency.
Yeah,
I mean, we'll do this until we're dead, maybe. I don't know. I've been actually subscribing to a bunch of podcasts, and I notice that there seems to be kind of a window when podcasts just kind of die.
Yes, I've noticed that too. Where you're like, when was the last one published?
I've been downloading podcasts where people talking about coffee and coffee shops.
Yes.
And they're about 20 or 30 episodes, and then they either just stop and there's no more info, or they're just like, we're just tired of this. We're not doing it.
I mean, it's a lot of work.
It is.
Every week.
Anyone that can do a podcast on a regular basis, hats off to you.
Oh, I do want to mention, I published a new shampoo and booze, like I said I was going to.
Yeah.
We had a design consultation with Samantha and Boca Raton.
Right, so you can see the advice.
You can see us.
Yeah.
It was, I cannot tell you how fun it was. Yeah. The minute she emailed us and said, I need some advice on Boca Raton, I was like, oh, I'm going to have so much fun with this. So you can see that Ashley and I doing a consult. It is an hour long, but it is super fun. So shampooandbooze.com, youtube.com/shampooandbooze. Check it out. And you can, subscribe to us through all the ways. I don't have to say anymore. Anyway, okay. Are we done?
Sell trash, be free. We're ending this podcast in 3, 2, 1.
Bye.